What is going on, boys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to be a really good Belle player, starting off with her best build. The Trapper gadget, where she drops her little trap, is obviously going to be the best one. It catches people off guard and can get a lot of guaranteed kills, and it's really good in the game modes like Knockout, where the kills really matter. As far as her star power goes, it's just kind of up to personal preference. I like the one that gives the 20% shield, but you can run whatever you want with that. As far as best gears go, the damage gear is obviously going to be really good with her, and then the shield gear gets really good value with her as well. The first tip with Belle is kind of straightforward. You want to just basically play her on Knockout and Bounty and Wipeout basically solely. I see some people playing her in Brawl Ball on open maps or Hot Zone on more open maps, which is also fine. But, if you're trophy pushing, especially higher up, you want to stick to Knockout and Bounty, but pretty much. You don't really want to go outside that. So, yeah, that's tip number one. Tip number two is actually really advanced. It's not that hard to understand, but I'm going to just tell you guys it's really useful. So what you want to do is when you have her super and you really need to land it onto in like a 1v1 situation or really any time, what you can do is you can shoot a shot one way. The opponent will hopefully realize it if they're good enough, realize it and run the other way. Right after you fire that first shot, you fire her super in the other direction. You'll hit her super a lot more doing that, and it's just really good. You're wasting a shot, yeah, sure. You may even hit the shot, honestly. But if the player's good enough, they'll run the other way, and then you just mark them with a super. So you'll hit a lot more supers if you use that little strategy, so yeah. Tip number three is to stay away from other marksman brawlers like Nanny and Piper. Other marksmans aren't bad, but those two you want to stay away from. They kind of counter Belle. A good Belle can beat them, but if you're an average Belle or maybe haven't played Belle too much before, I would try to not lane with Pipers and Nannies. You want to lane with tanks that you can mark and do a lot of damage against, or other brawlers that you counter, like mid-range brawlers, pretty much anyone you outrange, tanks, some throwers, it just depends, but you want to stay away from Nanny and Piper. Next tip has to do with her super, and this is going to be a little bit like a couple tips combined into one. So first off, you don't want to mark someone who's like really low health. You obviously want to mark a higher health brawler, but you also don't want to save your super forever because it's kind of easy to charge a Belle super. I'm not really sure how many shots it takes, but it's not many. And you can charge them pretty quickly, and maybe it's like 6 or 7 shots. I mean, maybe 5, I don't know. But you can charge them pretty quickly, so use them on tanks. But what you don't want to do is save it forever and then charge 2 supers but only have 1. So you want to get it out and try to hit it as fast as possible because you want to go ahead and charge that next super. It's kind of similar to Mortis where you're just wasting time if you don't use that super. You could be, charging another super and marking 2 people. I guess you can't mark 2 people actually. But either way, you could still be charging another super and hitting that one and progressing forward versus just not. So, you want to get that super out and make sure you mark that person and kill them hopefully and then move on and do it again. You don't want to hold on to it forever. The last tip when it comes to Belle is you don't want to overcommit too much because Belle is not a very high DPS brawler. She does good damage, but it's not great. And if you overcommit, you can get slaughtered by the other team if you're not careful. And she doesn't really have a way to get out. Like Piper has her super, and Nanny has that return to sender gadget, and other marksmen have other gadgets and supers to get them out. But Belle really doesn't have anything to get her out of a rough situation. So you want to make sure you're not overcommitting with Belle because you're pretty much stranded. So yeah, that was the last tip. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you learned anything, I would appreciate a like. I know I don't ask for likes too much, but I would appreciate one if you learned something from this video. Anyway, peace out, homies.